What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Talking to the Doll podcast. It's a pregame show. It's the second one that we're doing. First we did against Spartak. Now we're here for the game of the title. I guess you could call it that. I know there's still 4 games ready to go, but we're here. This game is important. Steve Santos and Steve got the memo from the boss. Make sure you wear a Benfica jersey. What's going on
game day, it's kind of required. So yeah, I'm wearing my Benfica jersey today.
It's about time he's part of the team.
And Cristiano Oliveira right next to me.
Hola.
And special guest all the way from 1 a.m. time zone, Pedro Martins, also known as Peggy. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, how's it doing? How you doing? I hope I'm as good as Patrick at 1 a.m., but we'll see how I go.
Very nice.
I tell you, the minute you mentioned Peggy, the viewership just went crazy
Bam!
on the Benfica podcast. Numbers just skyrocketed.
Just like that.
That's why we bring this guy on. I mean, it's unbelievable.
All right. What's better like this, right? All right, guys. All right, let's start real quick. We'll go to the Convocados. JJ only announced that this morning. Peggy, you got that list for Benfica?
Yep. We got the goalkeepers are Paulo Lopes, Julia Cesar. Then we've got Lisandro, Luizão, Jardel, André Almeida, Maxi Pereira, and Eliseu. Midfield, Talisca, Samaris, Ruben Amorim, Gaetan, Salvio, Feja, Olajon, Suljamani, and Pizzi. And we've got Dele, Lima, and Jonas up front.
So 20 guys. There was a rumor this morning that Bola was reporting actually that Salvio had left the Seixal, and usually that happens when a player is hurt. But then JJ included him in his 20 men list, which means 2 guys will not sit. I mean, 2 guys will not dress.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't forget, there's still 2 guys that will not dress, and therefore Salvio could still be left out of the squad. Just because he's called up for the initial 20 doesn't mean he'll be included in the 18 for the game.
Most likely, it will be one field player and 1 goalkeeper, since he's got 3 goalkeepers there.
Well, one thing we know is for sure right away before we start this show off is that my prediction that Benfica will win 1-0 with a Vebadu goal. That's out the window. Forget about it. He's not even on the 20. Forget the 18. He's not even on the 20. So,
bam,
right from the start, boom.
So we got the Convocados. Let's while we wait for the starting 11 to come, let's talk a little bit about the referee. Jorge Souza was the guy that was chosen to ref this game. I'll give you a little bit on Souza. He debuted in 2003, was made international in 2006. He's a 39-year-old empresario, as they call it, from Lourdel do Douro, so AF Porto ref. 13 games so far this season in the Liga NOS. Was also the center guy at the Dragão, and no issues there that I could recall. I don't know if you guys recall anything. This season, as I've said, we had him at the Dragão. We also had him on the 1-1 tie, the André Almeida game at the Alvalade. He's done 3 games for Porto this year. A win against Sporting, a loss against Benfica, as I've said, and a win against Braga. Perhaps the number 1 referee, Steve, for us. I mean, as far as Portuguese goes, I think this guy is right up there.
Well, he did a fantastic job in both the game at Alvalade and the one in Porto. So I can't fault him on that. A funny thing that I noticed in JJ's press conference was whoever runs the show on the press conferences, JJ was going on about how there was going to be 2 great teams on the field, and somebody tapped him on the shoulder. No, it's 3 great teams. Make sure you include the referee. So they're already putting him on the spotlight. That's something that I'd have to say I don't really like too much. But let's hope for a game with as little occasions where he's going to have to intervene and put a stamp on the game for one reason or another will happen. Hopefully that isn't the case.
All right, and I'll run you through some numbers here for Porto. Porto is obviously second, 71 points, 22 wins, 5 ties, and 2 losses. They have the best defense in the league, both at home and away. Benfica has the best attack. Last 10 matches at the Luz between these two teams, 4 wins for Benfica, 4 wins for Porto, and 2 ties. Benfica haven't lost to Porto at home since the 2011-2012 season, and last 4 matches at home, which includes last 4 matches at home for Benfica that they haven't played at Porto. Cristiano, with the fact that we're looking at these numbers and obviously the home factor you got to play with, and when it comes to the home factor, we definitely have the advantage.
Listen, as I've said many times, and you and I have had conversations off the air for the last 2 weeks now about this same subject, which is, in my opinion, when it comes to a game such as Benfica Porto, or even throw in, Benfica Sporting, obviously they're arch nemesis, the derby, same city, whatever. When it comes to games like this, all those numbers, for me, in my opinion, they're thrown out the window. To me, it's all about this one game, and today's game is all that matters. I don't care what happened in previous games. I still think, that Porto, in some way, are still in Benfica's head. I think Benfica still have some sort of doubt. I know we beat them last season, but in my mind, I still think there's a lot of doubt there in Benfica players' heads, and it's going to be a tough game today, man. I know Porto got smacked around in Munich over the week, but coming into this game, they know that if they right the ship, they win this game. I mean, they're right back in the lead right there, and they could obviously salvage the season for them.
Pedro, what are you thinking as far as the important factor that Cristiano is saying is that in the back of Benfica's players' minds and even a lot of fans is the fact that Porto's been our bogey team for quite some time. What do you think? How do you think that plays? Do you think the team is ultra confident that they can beat this Porto team?
Well, with what JJ's been saying all week and for the last couple of weeks, he's been pretty bullish, as Cristiano likes to say. So he's been coming out and doesn't really comment on Lopetegui, but when he does, he's trying to be a little bit, given a sense of that he's confident and that the team's confident. We know that the fans are a little bit worried because when we talk about how we're going to play and what result we're going to go for in the strategy, we tend to be gung-ho, but then we start to think about all those 30 years and it comes back a bit. But I think the team's confident. We've got to go out there and we've got to do it in our house.
Yeah. And Steve, this bicampeonato is something that is quite important for Benfica, especially to stop with Porto's dominance over the past years. I wouldn't say this is Benfica's taking over, but I think this is maybe finding a balance at last in the championship rather than being always Porto. Steve? Absolutely.
I think by winning this back-to-back, we'll finally have our own little spot there where it seemed like Porto was just dominating year after year. We might get one, Sporting might get one here and there, but that's it. But if we can get these 2 in a row, along with the one from 2009 and 10, it's looking a more even playing field since then compared to when it was just Porto would win 7 or 8 years in a row and then maybe Sporting might nick one and maybe we would nick one. But that's a long time ago. But it's an extremely important game. I mean, there's 63,000 people in Stade de Luz, probably not there at this second yet, but there will be. And there's not going to be one person that's there that isn't nervous. I mean, I'm 1,000.
Yeah, I think your internet just got nervous. As we sit here, guys, Benfica starting 11 just came out. So I'll proceed with giving you the starting lineup. Júlio César, Maxi, Luizão, Jardel, Eliseu in the back. Samaris, Talisca, Gaetan, Pizzi, and then Jonas and Lima up front. So have at it, guys. I'm rather surprised that Talisca has been thrown into the mix here. A guy hasn't really played much over the last, 2 months? He hasn't got much burn, and all of a sudden you throw him right out there in one of the biggest, not one of, but the biggest game of the season. I mean, this game right now, the Campeonato, whoever wins this game is most likely going to, win the Campeonato. So I'm rather surprised that Talisca is in the starting 11 here, guys.
Yeah. Is Steve with us or no?
No.
Reggie, what do you think of the lineup? We had said that maybe John was perhaps the safest choice, but he really hasn't had too great of an outing this past couple times, and as we've said here on the pod, that John is more of a bench guy. What do you think?
Yeah, like as you guys have been saying, that I noticed after you said it that John seems more comfortable coming off the bench when he's got specific instructions, like the game's been going for a while, and then he knows what to do. But the inclusion of Talisca, I mean, we could have had a more defensive option once again with Almeida probably slipping in, or Ruben Amorim maybe, but Talisca means that he wants the shots to be fired at the Portugal, and it looks a more offensive 11.
And guys, just as we feared at the beginning of the podcast here, no Salvio in the 18, so we were correct in saying that there's still a possibility that he still wouldn't make the 18. So he's been left out. I'm a little bit surprised. This guy hasn't played much over the last couple of months. And
who hasn't?
Talisca. And that being said, I have to be honest. I'm not the biggest Ola John fan, but I would have liked to see Ola John on the wing because one thing he brings is that speed. And you know what? At least he could counter Alexandru down the left flank. I thought it would have been a wise decision to have this guy put pressure on Alexandru. Right now, I'm not sure Pizzi's going to do that. I think this move has a lot to do with things that Steve has mentioned in previous podcasts, that they're going to have the dominance in the midfield. Now, I think he's going to fall back into the middle. Maybe Talisca spreads out a little bit wide, and they intertwine with one another. And I think it just adds another guy to the midfield for Benfica in order to have control in the midfield.
Steve, break down the Talisca choice. I have my own idea why Talisca was brought in, but you probably share the same one.
To be honest, I don't like the idea. I'll explain to you what I think JJ's thinking. Porto's got a very strong midfield. Talisca is a player that isn't going to hug the line. He's not going to leave. He's not going to be wide. He's going to always be tighter into the middle. He's going to add more numbers into the midfield. But he's not a very comfortable player in tight spaces and in that congested area of the midfield. He never really finds the right passes. He'll lose the ball. He will not pressure at the right time. I'm not too happy about seeing him in the lineup, especially if you look at Porto's lineup. I don't know if you guys got to that while I got kicked off my internet, but they're going very, very center heavy as well. They're playing with Ruben Neves and Casemiro, with Ivandro, Oliver Torres, and Brahimi. All guys that they all gravitate to the middle of the pitch. Right. So it's going to be a very, very compact and dense game in the middle of the pitch. And for me, Talisca it's not an area that he excels. I mean, we've always found that when he looks his best is when he's running with the ball at pace and with lots of space, not in a tight, compact game like that. I hope JJ proves me wrong, but I'm not a big fan of his selection.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too, is that Talisca, which is a guy that gravitates to the middle, and we can match him man for man in the middle. That was my thinking also. The other thing is that the whole John thing was to keep who's their left back?
Alexandru.
To keep Alexandru honest. Not saying that Talisca can't do it, that Talisca can't drop to the right. I'm also thinking that both Lima and Jonas could both drop on the flanks while Talisca takes a more deeper position or higher position, I should say. Steve?
I don't think Talisca's got the routines to double up with Maxi and to defend and whatnot. I know Ola John's in a bad moment and he hasn't been playing well. So I ran this in my brain this morning as like it looked like Salvi for sure wasn't going to make it and whatnot. So I was like, what's JJ going to do? What's his best option? My mind was thinking playing Almeida and Maxi ahead of Almeida. That way you kind of you have more guarantees. You have a player that really knows the system well, and Maxi, you have another player that doesn't really leave you wanting for more. Almeida will always give you a performance that you're satisfied with.
Well, who would play right midfield?
Maxi. I think you know what, Steve. That's a great shout because one thing we know is Maxi could attack up and down the flank, and the other thing he'll do is he'll defend. We know he'll defend for sure. So I mean, out of the three choices between playing Talisca, between playing Olajan or doing that, playing under Almeida right back and inserting Maxi into the midfield, I think that's the one that sounds the best to me, which would have been Maxi at midfield. right now I just don't see. I don't see what Talisca's bringing into this midfield. It's not like he defends well. It's not like he links up the play well enough. I mean, to me, he's just going to be. I mean, hopefully he gets the ball, he gets a little bit of free space, and he cracks one on goal because, like we've said many times, he has a hell of a left foot. But I don't see anything else. This is a guy that hasn't played regularly now for 2 months. Or even longer than that, guys. Let's be honest. And all of a sudden, you insert him here into a huge game. I mean, this has a little something. You know, it reminds me a little bit of the whole Andre Almeida scenario with against Sporting, a guy that hadn't played a lot, and all of a sudden, you inserting him into a huge game.
But he's been there. He's been there before, Chris. He's completely at ease in a situation like this.
Who's that?
Helton.
What the hell is he talking about?
Wait, Helton?
Isn't that who you were talking about?
No, we're talking about Talisca.
I think the internet's playing tricks on you, bro.
That's bad. Sorry about that.
I'm talking about Talisca. It's all right. Well, Helton, you know what? If I'm a Portista, I'm actually happy that Helton is in the goal. As a Benfiquista, I'm not, because based on what we've seen this weekend and Fabiano being an absolute clown out there and being culpable for 3 of the 6 goals that he gave up against Bayern Munich, I was praying to the Lord that this guy would play against Benfica. So as a Benfiquista, I'm not happy. And if I'm a Portista, I'm excited to see Helton back there. I know he's a little bit long in the tooth and stuff like that. He's been around, but the one thing is, to me, he gives me more assurances than what Fabiano does. So I'm not too happy as a Benfiquista about that move, Steve.
Yeah. We'll just have to see who's got Porto's starting 11. I know I've already mentioned.
I just threw it out. Porto start Helton, Danilo, Maicon, Marcano, Alexandro. Midfield, you got Casemiro, Ruben Neves, Evandro, Oliver Torres, Jackson Martinez, and Brahimi. So no Quaresma. Tello is obviously hurt. He's injured. He's not a part of the squad. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't know much about this Evandro. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one, but
all right, let's
shaking in my boots here.
Let's look at this Porto 11. To me, the read about Quaresma is that he can't go the full 90, especially after having played on Tuesday, and he's probably gonna have him off the bench to try to make some kind of a difference. Steve, what I don't understand is that Porto needing to win this game, how they load up the midfield with really not a lot of guys up front.
There's no real proper winger in the side if you look at it now. Honestly, I'm curious to see who ends up playing on the right. Is he going to play Oliver towards the right, like he played a little bit like that at the beginning of the season, a little bit off a flank and coming in a little bit, or is he going to play Evandro on the wing? Evandro's always played almost like a attacking midfielder or a second striker type role, so it's going to be interesting. The one player that I look up at in their lineup that really I see an option to get at him a little bit is the youngster, Ruben Neves. I mean, I've watched a kid play on a number of occasions, and he looks very mature for his age. But this is a big stage, especially for a kid who's grown up in Portugal, a kid who's come up through the Porto ranks. This has a lot of background to him. This isn't just Oliver coming in at 19 years old and used to La Liga, plays at Atletico, knows very little about Benfica Porto. He doesn't have the same history like a Ruben Neves has. So it'll be very interesting to see how he reacts to the situation. But that's the one weakness in their side that I'm really looking at. Helton could be, sorry about what happened before, could be either a very good, strong bonus to them, or he could show rust. But his experience is going to be invaluable in a situation like today, I think.
Well, Steve, definitely one positive to take out of this Porto lineup. If you look back and you go back to the beginning of the season when Porto struggled, back in September, which was they were playing that 4-4-2, and they were trying to force center midfielders out to the wings and forcing them to play, and that's exactly what he's doing. And that's when Porto struggled, because when we saw Porto switch back to their usual 4-4-3, these guys have been pretty good over the last 6-7 months. So that's the one thing I'm hoping here that Porto goes back to their old, trying to force those guys out wide, and therefore they struggle because obviously they're not accustomed to playing those positions. So that's definitely, for me, a positive to take away here as a Benfiquista from this Porto lineup.
Yeah. So big game for Benfica, not only for Benfica but also JJ, who will, with this game, will leapfrog.
I thought you lost your internet as well. I said, this guy loses internet.
I was trying to find the right word without sounding too presumptuous. He leapfrogs Otto Gloria as the man at the helm for the most games with Benfica and Pedri. That's quite an accomplishment, especially for a coach that's a Portuguese coach.
Yeah, definitely. He overtakes him. He overtakes Ericsson. There's a whole history of great coaches that have coached Benfica, and his win record is also very good. So in the presser, he was asked about this record and the stats that he's going to break this year, and he said, I've got people that worry about that thing, and I'll in 6 weeks I'll talk to you about that. So he's definitely focused on the game and not on any records that he's about to break.
Right, absolutely. And the absence from Salvio, I know we already touched a little bit, but Salvio, quite an important man to this team. 13 goals, 9 assists. He's actually the second guy with the most assists after Gaetan in this Benfica team. We kind of had been prepared for his absence. He hasn't played. He has trained all week. So we were ready, but this Talisca choice will prove to be one that it's to make it or break. It's either he's gonna work out well, or he's gonna make a substitution at the halftime to make corrections. Hopefully, it won't be too late, Chris. So we'll see. But also with the Talisca, and on Monday, I think somebody sent in a video to the club, or there was a video on one of the papers that Talisca was playing futsal, and
some punishment he got.
Yeah, we all know that as a professional player, and this goes for many sports, that there's certain clauses that you're not allowed.
Ride motorcycles, no jet skis, no skydiving, no mountain. It's true. You guys are laughing, but it's true. I mean, at least in the United States, I know that for a fact to be true, because a lot of players get in trouble for off-season injuries, and obviously along with those things that I just mentioned is playing basketball and playing other sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, anything that could put you in harm, that could cause an injury, all that's stipulated in your contract, that if you violate your contract, you're on your own. But I mean, I don't know what the hell. I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about, to be totally honest. But the one thing I'm thinking about, But the one thing that I'm thinking about here is, it goes back to the beginning of the season when Steve, obviously, rightfully so, would point out the fact that Talisca wasn't doing much for the team. And you and I, it wasn't that we disagreed, but we were pleased with his performances, because for a minute there, he carried the team with his goals. And so I think what I'm about to say now goes back to what we initially said back in September and October, which was this guy was going to be thrown out there regardless whether you thought he was a good player or not, because he was the next meal ticket for the team. And so it leads me to believe, once again, we hear all these rumors, and I think it's been confirmed that the biggest of the biggest clubs in Europe will be at the Stadio de Luz today, observing this game and scouting this game today. And I think this is an opportunity for Benfica to say, maybe, you know what, man, this guy's not all he's made out to be. Let's throw him out there. Hopefully he has a good game. And these guys, because everyone's here today, and these guys are seeing to come and swap them up in the summer. So that might be some of that into his decision making, guys. I mean, because like Steve mentioned, and you guys mentioned, the whole thing with even Ola John, I think I would have preferred Ola John starting. And I've been pretty hard on Ola John, saying that the guy, I don't think he could, he's a starter. I think he's more of a bench player. But in this instance, I've more in favor of Ola John starting than having a Talisca, a guy that hasn't played in months, and even like we've mentioned, Moxie moving up, and I think there's better alternatives here. There's an explanation to me as to why you're going to start this guy in this game, and then you guys have just mentioned some BS that happened, and like Steve said, great punishment. You get to start in the Classico. So maybe they're just trying to throw him out there to the wall, like, go ahead, guys, look, he's here. Let him score 2 goals. Hey, come by him. Hey, levo guys para casa. Right?
And he could play futsal on his days off.
That's it. Guys,
that's impressive.
Doubles. Yeah.
PB.
I don't like this, man. I don't like this Talisca thing at all. There was a question on our Tuesday podcast that we didn't get to. I believe it was from his Twitter handle is Gomes89, and he asked how is Benfica going to cope with Porto's pressing. I will have to watch it and see how well they press, especially now that they've added in elements to play in very important positions for pressing. Ivandro, if he is playing on the right, it's different than playing in the middle where he has to press and when. Same thing goes for Oliver, whoever ends up playing there. So that is a bonus for us. The other bonus for us is we can really we don't need the ball as much as Porto does. Our game plan, the way we played against them in Porto, it doesn't necessitate that we need the ball as often as they do. So if we have to play a big, ugly, long ball to avoid getting caught out, we can. We also, if you're looking at this game, it doesn't look like it's going to be a game where the center backs are going to be very spread apart. I doubt very much that we'll see Samaris is going to drop between them and will spread out. That's not going to happen. So you're not going to see a lot of opportunities for Porto to pressure 1v1 against us, or maybe even 2v1 type of situations, because the game is going to be a lot more compact, I think, in the middle, and you're not going to have those guys basically out on their own, and you can just get on them and cause a turnover. I don't think that's going to be a case. At least I hope not. I don't think Benfica doesn't have to risk or have to assume the game so much, so they're not going to play that way. They're not going to be out wide open trying to make the pitch as big as possible when they have the ball. It's just it doesn't make sense when all you technically really need is a tie. So I don't think the pressing will be as big a factor as it was versus Bayern in Porto in the first leg.
Yeah, Pedro, what do you think the game plan is right now as the players are warming up on the field? But what do you think that some of how JJ has prepared this team as far as the game plan and some keys for this game? What do you think that the message is?
I'd love the team to come out and start like they did against Braga. I thought the Braga match was a fantastic way to show how to play against a team that it's in the top 5 of the league. As Cristiano always says, Braga isn't, or Porto isn't Braga, but that kind of having our players kind of trying to stay away from our penalty box and our defensive areas would be just what I would like to see, even if that means getting rid of the ball for the first couple of minutes. And then when we settle, you can try and take care of the rhythm of the game and attack them. But I don't want to see the ball anywhere in our own half for the first 10 minutes or so.
Absolutely. I think Benfica, as not only defending champs, but the leaders this season and playing at home, I think Benfica has the responsibility of coming out the first 15, 20 minutes and asserting themselves and letting Porto know that we're the home team and we're the team to beat, and let them know that they're not here to, to mess around, that Benfica really means business, and put pressure on Porto and come out and try to control the ball rather than give them the ball and, try to, occupy spaces, play great defensively, and then come forward on a counter. No. Let Porto play like that. They're the ones that are on the road. Benfica has to show them that they're the boss today, and I think that's the way that Benfica is going to win this game. I don't want to give up ball possession.
I'm very confused by the tactical approach that Porto is going to take with that many guys in the midfield. It's kind of baffling me. It's almost baffling as much as the choice to put Talisca on the right.
I think what Porto is going to intend to do today, which is give Benfica the ball, hope that Benfica, makes their own mistakes and then counter them. I think that's their game plan today. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm thinking with all the players in the middle of the pitch like that and all like central midfield ball playing type players, they're going to try to keep hold of the ball as much as possible and frustrate us. That's what, looking at the lineup, that's what I think is what he's thinking. But there's a whole bunch of different ways that it could go. I think what we have to be prepared to do is suffer a little bit, because there's no way that we're going to be on top of them all the time. They're going to have their moments in the match. We're going to have to sit back and defend properly. That's what it's going to come down to. JJ said it in the presser yesterday that the team and the fans are going to have to be prepared, because Porto is a strong side. They will have their moments in the match, so we're going to have to be prepared to suffer a little bit. And I'm not saying the only way is to sit back and counterattack. Like I said in the podcast on Tuesday, I think we really need to mix it up a little bit. I don't think we have I don't think it's in our DNA to keep the ball for 70 or 60% of the match. So we're gonna have to let them have the ball on occasions, and just because they will have it. That is their game. So we're gonna have to play within the moments. If that means starting very strong and see if they shake a little bit, I'm for it. If that means we have to sit back a little bit and see what they have, I'm for it too. I just think that we all have to be prepared that it's not going to be a game where we're going to be up and at them the whole time, unless Porto really flop after what's happened in Munich. But I don't think it's going to be the case. I'm expecting a very tight match.
Yeah, but Steve, even I understand the idea of them keeping the ball, but even so, I mean, this is a team that obviously needs a win more than anything else. This Porto team, and they need to win by 2-0. And keeping the ball is not really going to get them any goals, to be honest with you. I mean, they will have the majority of the possession, and they will keep us from having the ball. But still, what they need here is really goals.
Yeah, but when was the last time Benfica has played against a team that keeps the ball like Porto will?
Was Zenit maybe?
They're Zenit, exactly. And Zenit, I was at Stadlu. Zenit made us look poor on occasions, at least. So there's
no. I mean, didn't Benfica kind of play like that at Estádio do Ladrão, and they came over to 2-goal lead? They gave the ball to Porto.
Exactly.
And Benfica just played defensively and countered, and it worked out perfectly. And I think Porto might try to do a little something like that today. I don't know. I'm not sure if packing the midfield is more to do with possession or more to do with just trying to win the ball,
blocking it off.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he's gonna, like you guys mentioned, during the week, which was Porto really exhausted themselves with the pressure and back-to-back games over there against Munich, and a lot of you guys saying a lot of these players are going to be tired out. Maybe Lopetegui's thinking like that. My guys are tired out. I have to pack the midfield in order to try to gain possession of the ball, because if not, my guys aren't going to be able to pressure and keep this going for more than 60 minutes, and we're going to be in trouble. So I think a lot of it has to do with let's hold the game. Let's play defensive, okay? Obviously, you're going to want to try to control the ball somewhat, but I think they're going to try to stop Benfica on all areas of the pitch and then come out with the Quaresmas in the last 30, 35 minutes, fresh guys, and then come out at Benfica, and kind of counter them that way.
Yeah, it's possible. And, guys, for you guys that are at home watching this, if you want to interact with us, just hashtag Benfica Podcast, and we'll get your Twitter message up there, and we'll also answer any questions you may have about this Classico. And as I was saying, Porto will need, in order for Porto to get the edge, they will have to beat us by 2 goals. And Porto hasn't beaten Benfica at Estádio da Luz by 2 goals since 1951. Again, I mean the stats are just that, stats. And they remain true until they're beaten. But, the game's not played with numbers.
Well, let's be honest. They need 2 goals to leapfrog Benfica and be in control. But if they get a 1-0 victory, 3 points is 3 points. There's still 4 games to be played. So they also know that in the back of their head. It's not like they need to walk out of there with a 2-goal lead. Yeah, it'd be nice if you're a Porto. It'd be nice to, that's what they'd want. But, hey, for them, 3 points is 3 points, and then see what happens in the remaining 4 games.
Peggy, here's one for you, right? So let's say, as Chris mentioned the scenario here, Porto wins by 1 goal. Do you really think that maybe that will bring out some ghosts in Benfica? The fact that now all of a sudden there's 4 games left to go and there's no margin for error as far as Benfica goes.
I think that scenario would definitely bring out some bad reaction from the fans. I don't see how, even if it's a 1-0 loss, I don't see how that would be viewed as it's probably the best of the worst result, but it would be just a terrible disaster if we lose this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I talk about this all the time. I don't mean to keep repeating myself. These guys are a boogie team, man. These guys. I was gonna go there next. This team is our boogie team, even with a 1-0.
Please don't mention Kelvin.
Yeah, well, no, that's obvious one of them. You know what I mean? But even if Benfica were to lose just 1-0, and then technically Benfica's up, based on 1 goal, that means nothing. I mean, Benfica still has a very tough road game in Guimarães. We're not the same team on the road that we're at home. And Steve, this is where I bring in Passo Ferreira. being one of the examples.
Yeah.
We're not the same team on the road. So not only would it, would the doubt start creeping back into your mind as to why the hell can we never beat this team when it matters most, but then we also know that, bro, we're not the same team on the road. I mean, Benfica fans would absolutely. I don't even want to imagine it, man. I don't even want to go over that scenario. Forget it. Change subjects. Talk about something else.
Yeah. Yeah, and we still also
There's
have
no
we still have Gil Vicente away also. That's a much tougher game than Guimarães, because Guimarães,
You think so?
it's traditionally a big red town.
It is, but the Portistas will be out. How could you even say Guimarães is a big red? Braga's a big red town. Guimarães is the other way around, bro. Benfica bus always gets attacked, bro. They absolutely.
Guimarães has their own supporters that are very, very
Yeah, but
fanatical.
traditionally,
Exactly.
they've been a red town.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think as far as teams go, on paper at least, Guimarães is our hardest opponent.
Yes, absolutely.
And the Portistas will be out in full effect, bro. They'll be
You
out.
think so?
Hell yeah.
Mm.
If what do you mean? If Benfica were to lose 1-0, now Porto really needs Benfica to drop the fans. I mean, up north, bro. And the one thing is for sure, as far as the hate that Benfica receives throughout Portugal, I mean, aside from Porto, I think Guimarães, there's more hate towards Guimarães, towards Benfica in Guimarães, and it's probably a Estádio José Alvalade, believe it or not.
Think so?
Absolutely.
No way.
Bro, dude, them buses, they throw freaking cinder blocks off the bridge. I'm telling you, go look it up. Bro, there's always fights. There's always something going on.
I'll have to
over
look it
there.
up. I know Braga is getting kind of bad, but I don't remember Guimarães being the case.
Steve, you'd be surprised. I bet you that dinner that I owe you, I bet you another dinner.
Double or nothing.
I think you might be mistaken, Chris.
No,
I think the rocks are more up north, Braga and
where's Guimarães?
and-
That's a
Guimarães is not as up as north as Braga. I don't
It's
believe.
about half an hour away.
yes.
South or north?
Olha,
South.
que diferença, man? It's north.
It's north.
Guimarães
It's
is
not
south of Braga.
Yeah, Guimarães is south of Braga.
Geography 101.
And Braga is north.
See, I would say right now, normally, what happens here, guys, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, what happens here on the podcast, anytime we get into some sort of discussion, we reach out to Peggy. We say, Peggy on the spot, where you at? But since Peggy's on with us tonight, we need one of you guys to step up, and we need a Peggy replacement for the day, guys. So,
what do you need?
well, to confirm that.
Somebody to clarify that.
To confirm that.
Steve's right.
Nobody's arguing the geography, Steve.
I think that Braga is more favorable to Benfica, but Guimarães is, even though they've developed their own fan base recently in the past maybe 10 years or so, I think they're favorably to Benfica, more favorable to Benfica than Porto, I would say.
I absolutely no,
Guys,
that's
the big if we stuff up this game 1-0 loss or whatever, the problem isn't going to be the away fans. It's going to be our own Benfiquistas that will eat this team alive. So we don't have to worry about anyone else. Probably not throwing bricks and concrete at the bus. but
it's true
it'll
though.
be
Look,
carnage.
our very own good friend here, obviously part of the pod many times, Mario Mota, come out today. I agree with Chris. The Victoria fans are nasty as hell. So right there is one vote for
There you
Cristiano.
I hope
but
Mario's right about that Talisca thing that he posted as well, that he's going to score 2 goals and prove us all wrong. I hope so. I really do.
I mean, I think if Talisca scores 2 goals today, not only will he be sold, but I'll probably buy his next team jersey today. I'll buy a Chelsea jersey already with number 30 and Talisca on it.
Talisca isn't going anywhere. He's staying
If he scores 2 goals, he might.
staying another year at Benfica. Yeah, I don't think he has shown enough to go for the price that we're asking for him. I think that's what I think.
Oh, listen. Come on, bro. We're going to get into this again. We have like $60 million release clause. We sell guys for $15 million. So I don't want to hear about that stuff. What are you asking for? Benfica be changing numbers left and right. It's all about making that guac. That's it.
And Joãozinho is asking for game predictions. I think we already gave them on a pod, but
no, we didn't.
Yeah, we
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. What are you talking about?
No, he wants to change.
Chris, I'll let you change your Bebado prediction.
I mean, well, since it was such a terrible prediction, I just add to another terrible. You know what? Replace Bebado with Talisca. That's it. You know what? I went out on a limb before, so I'm just gonna stick to it. Talisca.
1-0, Talisca.
That's not 2-0. Why not? 2 goals. Mario, I'm with you, bro. You back me up on Guimarães, I'll back you up.
Steve.
I'm sticking to my 2-1 Benfica.
Yeah, I'm sticking.
Who scores the goals?
Jonas and Lima.
Epa, Lima.
I'm sticking to mine, which is 1-1.
Who scores?
And I'm gonna make our boy Timo, who's at the stadium, very happy.
He scored?
Jardel.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Timo scoring. I was gonna say, yo, that's
Jardel's gonna score.
Okay, Jardel. What about you, Peggy?
I'm thinking 2-0 to us. I hope.
And who scores? And who scores?
Jonas will get one, and Louis Zama for corner, I reckon.
Epa,
I don't think Jonas will score, man. There's gonna be way too much attention on Jonas.
He'll score off a Talishka shot rebounded by Heldon.
There you go.
Right in there.
Off of the right knee or the left knee?
Whatever.
Yeah, so big expectations obviously for this game. I think I just my adrenaline level just jumped up a little bit. I'm looking at the clock and I'm seeing 11:43 or basically 17 minutes before kickoff. But I actually wasn't able to sleep all that well last night because
Epa!
Me either, man.
You haven't slept yet.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see. We're hoping for a win, obviously, but I think, like Peggy said, the very worst will be a loss by 1-0. I just think that Benfica has a lot more on this with this team than they've had in years past. The confidence is at an all-time high. We've already beaten them once this year. You got a packed stadium. You got Timo in the stands. You got Pete Domican in the stands.
Oh, that's how come Benfica lose now.
You have Laura in the stands. We have Magda in the stands. We have João Gomes in the stands. And who am I missing?
We're in the stands as well. I mean, if you look behind us,
João and Manel are in the stands.
João and Manel,
Planet Benfica,
and we're there as well. There's nobody in the stands yet. They're all trying to get in. Those guys we all mentioned, as you can see, still empty behind us. They're all gonna fill this place up in 17 minutes. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, so we're obviously I have very high hopes for this game, and I hope that this old Talishka thing doesn't end up to be a mistake on JJ's part, and he's going to have to burn a substitution in order to correct that mistake by halftime. So hoping for a good thing. I'm also, the other thing about Talishka that I forgot to mention is that he's actually probably going to be playing on the right for a guy that's predominantly left-footed, Steve.
Also going more to the middle. That's for sure. That's the whole idea behind it, I think, is just to combat against their very heavy midfield approach as well. I think that's his reasoning, unless he completely baffles us and plays Talishka at 8 and Pizzi on the right. But
that's what I'm looking at here on Twitter, Steve. According to some social media that have some type of link with Benfica and what's going on, they actually have Talishka at 8 and Pizzi out wide right. So.
I don't like.
I think that's just speculated.
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Talisca's proven you can't play on the left. Now you're gonna put him on the right.
You can't take away from that chemistry that Samaris and Pete have been building.
Exactly. You're touching way too many elements in the team if you do it that way. This way, you drop Talishka in there, and that's only one part of the team that's changed. And if you look at it, Talishka's also very good on the 1v1 when he has space, so he could kind of use that to his advantage, kind of like Salvio does, but it's a different kind of player. So here's hoping that he cuts in off the right flank and smashes one into the top corner. How's that? Because that's what we need from him today.
You mean like Hulk did to us?
Yes, like Hulk did to us. And let's not try to remember that too much, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I just brought it up.
And Sultan SLB, he asked about the changes, and you probably missed it, but earlier we spoke about that Andre Almeida and Maxi will be a very good choice for the right wing.
Depending how the match goes, that's what I would. That just because Ola John's in a bad moment, and I have a lot of faith in Maxi.
But
a lot of faith in Maxi. And
but Ola John might not be bad coming off the bench.
Depending what the scenario of the game is. If it's still 0-0, do you have to do that? You could really. It depends. If it's still 0-0, I don't think Talishka's going to come off at halftime anyway. So there's one way to go.
No, not a half. Well,
but you
definitely bring in. Yeah, no, obviously, but depending how he's playing. I mean, if he's playing that bad, it's not going to be 0-0 at halftime.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm concerned about is Talisca's defensive abilities also. So we'll see. I mean, this is the one thing that all of us are in consensus as far as the lineup goes, that this is the one thing that pode dar po torto.
Yeah. Could go sideways or end up crooked. How's that?
Nunca ouviste falar, pode dar po torto.
Já ouvi falar do torto, mas não foi desse.
And with that,
all right, guys, we're getting close here to kick off. We still got another 12 minutes. Steve, come on, hang out, man.
No, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go. Let's
gotta
wrap
go
this up.
We gotta go fire up the satellite.
fire up the satellite,
crank it up,
pour some beers, all that good
Beers,
stuff.
yeah. All right, so you've actually, thank you very much. At one point, there was about 14, 15 of you. So thank you very much for checking us out. Yeah, 14, 15,000. That's what I said. I forgot the zero. But
that's all the Aussies coming back from the pub.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Thank you very much for checking us out, Peggy. I know it's late. You would have been up otherwise. It's already Monday morning for you. So let's hope that Benfica wins. So at least make it all worth it to you. Make it a nice Monday off, well bearable for you. Steve, thank you very much. I know you weren't here at the last pregame show that we did for Sporting, but I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy life to be with us. And that's about it. Don't forget to check out our podcast. We're on live also on YouTube every Tuesday night at 8:30. And iTunes, Stitcher Radio, RSS feed, BenficaPodcast.com, at Steve Santos 6, at 10CO10, at Peggy 21, right, Peggy?
No,
That's
no
it.
why.
No one?
Oh, well. No way.
No why. See? Pedge 21.
Pedge 21.
I'm your number one fan too, Peggy.
Don't forget the 6.
Don't forget the 6 with the dude being DA.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Good luck
Forza.
for Benfica and Forza Benfica, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday. Thank
Guys,
you very much, guys.
we'll all be on Twitter after the game to obviously hear your comments and some reactions, and we'll be tweeting and retweeting, and hopefully we'll all be a little bit excited and not cursing everyone else. So, peace.
Peace.
See ya.